Okay, so today we're going to take a deep dive into the life of this fascinating guy, Al-Razi, a 9th century Persian polymath.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got this really interesting YouTube podcast script as our source material. And like our mission is to like kind of unearth, the most impactful parts of his life and work.
Sounds good.
It's kind of a wild ride, though, because his early interests were not what you'd expect.
Yeah, not at all.
For a dude who ended up having such a huge impact on, like, the history of medicine,
Right. He was really into music and philosophy and even alchemy early on.
Alchemy.
Yeah, that early form of chemistry.
Okay.
Where they were trying to figure out the nature of substances and all that.
Huh.
So it really shows you he had this broad intellectual curiosity, way before he got into medicine.
I mean, going from all of that to being, like, a pivotal figure in medicine, that's quite a leap.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what sparked that change.
Totally. And, when he did finally focus on medicine, like, his impact was immediate and profound. I mean, think about it. This is an era of, like, plagues and widespread disease.
For sure.
And Al-Razi was the first to clearly distinguish between smallpox and measles.
Which was huge back then, because before him, they probably treated those two very different illnesses in, like, the same way.
Oh, wow.
Which obviously, like, hindered effective care and, stopping it from spreading.
Yeah.
So his careful clinical observations, led to more accurate diagnoses, which definitely saved lives during those times.
Absolutely. I mean, it shows you how powerful just, like,
Yeah.
careful observation can be.
Absolutely crucial for scientific progress.
For sure. And he didn't stop at just differentiating diseases. He went on to compile this huge book.
Oh, yeah. The comprehensive book.
Kitab, al-Hawi.
Right.
And it wasn't just like a collection of, existing medical knowledge, was it?
No, not at all. It was like an encyclopedia that brought together all the existing knowledge with his own clinical observations
Oh, wow.
and experimental findings. So it had this really systematic approach and was so comprehensive that it became like an absolutely essential resource for anyone in medicine.
That's incredible.
And what's amazing is that this book
Yeah.
became a foundational medical text in European universities for centuries.
Wow. So we're talking about a book that shaped medical practice
Absolutely.
for hundreds of years across different cultures.
Yeah, it really shows the influence of Islamic scholarship on the West.
So clearly a huge deal, but his curiosity went beyond medicine, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Al-Razi was also a pioneer in early chemistry.
Okay.
He moved past the more mystical parts of alchemy and really emphasized practical experimentation.
So he was like a real scientist.
Exactly. And he's credited with major advances in techniques like distillation.
Oh, like purifying liquids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he even discovered substances like sulfuric acid and ethanol.
Wow. So like we can picture him in his lab just like
Yeah.
experimenting away.
Totally. The source we're looking at says he even designed his own lab tools
Really?
and kept detailed records of his chemical reactions.
So this emphasis on like empirical evidence is really
Yeah.
a shift towards a more modern scientific method.
Right. His approach really laid the groundwork for how we do science today.
That's amazing. But it's also important to note that
Yeah.
his contributions went way beyond just scientific discoveries.
For sure. Like, he was a big believer in medical ethics.
Oh, so it wasn't just about knowing the science. It was about how to practice medicine ethically.
Exactly like how doctors should treat their patients with respect and all that.
And he also recognized something that's become really important today.
Yeah.
The link between mental and physical health.
Right. He understood that well-being includes both the mind and the body.
Wow. That's so forward-thinking for his time.
It really was, and underlying all his work was this deep commitment to logic and evidence-based reasoning.
So he wasn't just accepting what people had always believed.
Nope. He was always questioning things and looking for proof.
It makes you think how much his emphasis on observation and experimentation might have helped spark the scientific revolution centuries later.
That's a really interesting thought.
So to sum it all up, Al-Razi's legacy is enormous.
It really is.
I mean, he made crucial medical breakthroughs. He compiled this super influential encyclopedia. He pioneered experimental chemistry.
Yeah.
He emphasized ethical medical practice.
Right.
And he understood the importance of mental health. And all of this was driven by his love of logic
Exactly.
and his thirst for evidence.
It's a pretty remarkable story.
It really is. And it makes you think about how these fundamental principles that he championed, keen observation, rigorous experimentation, an interdisciplinary approach to understanding the world.
Right.
How do those principles still drive discovery and innovation in our lives today?
It's a powerful question to consider.
It really is. It connects us back to this brilliant mind from centuries ago.
Definitely food for thought.
For sure.